Welcome to Huddle for Success, real talk, real goals, and real results, where they help you make it happen in your life and business. Your hosts are Mark, Bruce, and Duane Gibbs, and they're here to help you level up your mindset, growth, and your success. Whether you're after personal growth or financial growth, they have you covered. Now let's huddle up.
Good morning, Mark. How's it going?
Good, Duane. I am excited, man. We've got a great episode today, I can tell. I'm really looking forward to our special guest we have.
Yes. So Denney is our special guest, the gentleman that wrote High Performance Playbook. I've known Dell for, oh goodness, long time. I would say 20 years. And with that being said, let me introduce you to Denney. Dell, good morning.
Good morning, Duane. Good morning, Mark. How you guys doing this morning?
Fantastic.
We're good.
Yes.
Hey, listen, we appreciate you accepting to come on to be on the podcast. We're excited to have you. We just really wanted to talk about your book and about what you're doing. You and I connected about 2 weeks ago, and I have seen you all over social media. As I mentioned, you and I worked together through a previous company, and I was always inspired of how you learned so quickly and how you were so focused on sales and how you were focused on people and what your methodology was between just being able to transform people from one level to another, and just really felt especially when your book came out and I told Mark, I said, listen, we got to buy this book. I said, it's going to have a lot of great information in it. And unbeknownst to us, it's a lot like our playbook for life. And so a lot of similarities, some things different, but it looks like we're in a line, and let's just talk about it. Let's talk about when you started in sales, and then we'll just work all the way through of what you're doing now and how the book came about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the coaching, teaching, training space for 20 plus years. And like Duane said, that's how our paths crossed. It was within the same company. I started off in sales in this training company. And I remember the very first time I met Duane, and I have to admit, I was intimidated by Duane. Like, just it was one of those I would say, what do they call it? Imposter syndrome. Like, I was new in sales. Duane was this rock star of a salesperson. I'm like, who am I to be in this room with Duane? Totally true.
You're too kind.
And I was like, what do I have to bring to the table here? And luckily, Duane was doing a training. And I remember sitting in that training and at the end of the day thinking, wow, this guy is a stud. Like, I am so glad I was here. I thought the world of Duane. Like, I was like, it was one of those Maya Angelou quotes where, you don't remember what they said, but you remember how they made you feel. I just remember walking away from just thinking, man, that Duane is such a good guy. And I think that's really where it spawned. And then today, fast forward 20 plus years later, it's birds of a feather flock together. I think we all have the same mindset, and it's good that we have that mindset. Not a lot of people have that mindset, and so it's I feel in good company today.
That's awesome. That's good. So let's talk about when you left the company. What was your focus on going out and doing your own training, and what are those steps? What did that look like? And was there any fear of you going out on your own? And talk about the fear.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it first started with, the industry that we were in. There was always this, maybe not for everyone, but for a lot of us, there was an aspiration to speak. And so there were stages and opportunities and a lot of money to be made with that. And so I think a lot of people aspired to that, and I certainly did. And I always had a natural knack for speaking, and that's really what kicked it off. I was like, okay, I'm going to make this big jump into speaking. I could either be in the back of the room and do sales and talk with people one-on-one, or I could put myself out on a out on stage and see what happens. And so the very first time I started speaking on stage, I think I was 25, maybe 25, which is pretty early for most speakers in that business. And that's really what kicked it off. And so I spoke for a few other companies. really developed that craft of speaking. And then as time evolved, I really liked coaching. So I was coaching my salespeople, I was coaching different organizations, and it wasn't something I sought out to do, but I think people gravitated towards me, and they saw that I cared and I wanted to build up people, because I know how much people built me up through the years too. Just like, sitting in trainings with Duane, I felt better, and when I found something, I would like to share it with other people. And so that's really how coaching started. And then when I realized I wanted to be a coach, that's when I dove in. I hired coaches to teach me how to be a coach, and
Yeah.
that really helped it out as well. And so it really evolved from sales to speaking to coaching. And then in about 2013, social media really came about. And I think that's what made me stand out from a lot of other people in our industry, is no one was really tapping the social media yet. And I really liked social media. It was fun. It was kind of a side hobby, and little did I realize that my career and social media would actually merge together later on. And then, I just kind of started building up on social media. So it happened very organically. It wasn't anything I planned. It just, I thought I'd take this skill set, maybe I'd try this skill set over here, and it all came together in this little thing called thought leadership. We didn't have that, wasn't a phrase when we started out 20 plus years ago, but that's what it is under one big umbrella today. And so I'm a podcaster as well. So on the Rich Dad channel, I'm a podcast host with over 3.5 million subscribers, on TV in Chicago on NBC. So it's all evolved through the years. It's been this crazy ride from sales to speaking to coaching to being I hate using this word, but maybe an internet influencer, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so it's really evolved through the years.
That's awesome. And so you did a bunch of real estate investing too, I think, correct?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's evolved through the years, from rentals to multifamily projects. It's to being a face of a land trust company. So I'm a spokesperson for a real estate company too.
That's awesome. Um, so what was I know you have kids. I know you have a 16-year-old. I know that you have I wouldn't say a newborn, but what, 4 years old?
Yeah, close. I have a 16-year-old, a 11-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So there's a
Two-year-old. Yes.
gap.
Yes.
One's driving, one's getting out of diapers. It's the craziest thing. It's a crazy time in my life right now.
Yes. Yes. So what, looking back, how do you feel like you helped your 16-year-old evolve into I mean, were you able to kind of influence her of different ways of thinking? And the reason I bring that up is because Mark has a heart for teaching people that are younger. He thinks that a lot of this needs to be taught in high school, junior high, senior high, colleges, to where, as you and I know, we used to train on that. It's so important to manage money and what all that looks like at a younger age. And so have you been able to do that to your daughter?
Yeah, I have. It's interesting. My 11-year-old in particular, I you never know what's going to stick when you're talking to your kids. And I remember I gave her the book, the High Performance Playbook. I gave all my kids, all my family copies of it. Who knows what would happen with it, right? And then a couple months later, I was talking to my daughter, my 11-year-old, who usually I think everything just goes right over her head. And she was quoting things from the book, and it just totally surprised me. And we were talking about affirmations that day, and how important affirmations are, and building yourself up, especially, kids in school, they're trying to figure out who they are. And, there's a lot of pressures from the outside world. And her big thing is, I'm brave, I'm smart, I'm beautiful. Like I'm about to tear up
That's
just
awesome.
thinking about that.
Wow.
And
That's
so
awesome.
those are things that she tells herself every day. And that was a part of, that book, and being able to teach her. But then also going along with my older daughter, is trying to get that little tear. I hate I hate
Hey, no, that's
it leaks
good.
every now and then.
That's good. That's good.
But I also think about my oldest daughter, and even the middle daughter, um, how important coaching is. When you develop that skill set of coaching, you have the ability to shift mindsets, and persuade them to do other things. And when you have a good heart, you can persuade them to do better things. And so there's a skill set of coaching that comes along with it. And then I'll give you an example. When I'm coaching someone, I ask a lot of questions, because that helps change patterns in people. So I had a mentor once say that, If you say something, it can be debated, but if they say it, it's gospel. So for example, if I'm on stage and I say the sky is blue, someone's going to debate me. Someone's going to be like, oh, actually, your eyes actually, it's actually green. And someone might debate it, right? There's silly people out there. But if you're on stage and you ask the question, what color is the sky? And they all say blue, I think you're right, right? Because they said it, it's true. And that applies to coaching and it applies to our kids. Being able just to ask good questions, better questions out of the kids. Like, instead of saying, clean your room, you might say, would it feel good to have a clean room? Yeah, I think it would. I think you're right. Just little things like that.
Sure.
And so being able to take the skill set of coaching and applying it to your kids is such a great blessing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about AI. Obviously it's the elephant in the room. Everybody's using it. Some like it, some don't. How much has AI helped your business? Do you use AI a lot? Talk about
I
that.
I use AI a lot, quite a bit. So from
Listen, don't be shy to say it because everybody does.
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, I've got a new book out that's on Amazon right now called The AI Business Coach for Entrepreneurs. I use it in so many aspects of my life, from a personal standpoint to a professional standpoint, from writing copy. At the beginning, I used to write my own websites and landing pages and things of that sort, and it would take me forever to do, forever. And now I just throw it through ChatGPT and it spits out something good. But the key is also knowing how to write good copy, to understand like, hey, is this good or not? So I use it in business, from my marketing materials. It gets understands me. And so it allows me to get things out even faster. But I'll also say, from a coaching standpoint and a personal development standpoint, I'll give you a really cool health hack that I've been using this last year. And I haven't really shared it in too many forums, but getting your blood work drawn, I uploaded it to ChatGPT and I say, based on my blood work, what supplements do you recommend that I take?
Wow,
And I
that's
start,
awesome. I just
oh,
had mine done. So
upload it ChatGPT. It'll give you specific to what you need. I do it every 3 months, and my blood work is phenomenal for a 42-year-old guy. Like, it's the healthiest I've ever been. It's amazing. So I highly recommend it. But there's all kinds of cool things you do with AI these days. And so just from a health standpoint to a business standpoint, it's amazing what it can do. Scary as well, but it's amazing
yeah.
what you can do. It's a great tool. I absolutely love it. I pay for all kinds of tools. I pay an extra $20 a month for ChatGPT. It's the best
Oh
investment
yeah.
I think I have.
Yeah, and we have had episodes where we've talked about it, and I think everybody is in agreement across the board that, even though I have done some mathematical equations for properties and all, and it has been off. It hasn't been completely 100%. And so I would say this, that if you have to ask the proper question to get the proper answer. So if you don't know what you're asking, you're really going to get an answer could be altered to where you can't fall on the sword with AI. And I think that with being able to have a knowledge about something, it can help you totally propel. I think you can use it so many ways, but you really have to be an understanding of what it is that you want to know.
100%. There's a cult classic book and turned into a movie. I watched the movie. I didn't read the book on this one, but Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Did you ever watch that movie?
I never did. I have
But
no idea what you're talking about. Mark
Did,
probably
did
has.
you ever see it?
I read the book a long, long time ago.
Okay, well, it's a cult
Probably
classic of a
before you
movie
were born,
today.
Dell.
Yeah, probably.
It may have been. It's one of those books. I think Elon Musk says it's one of his favorite books. But there's a scene in the movie. I'm gonna go to the movie here, and it's this society in the future, and they go to this. There's this new machine, and it's the smartest machine in the world. Now, this was made before AI, right? And so
Right.
this is like an AI opportunity. So they go up to this big all-knowing machine and they say, what is the meaning of life? That's the question. What is the meaning of life? And the robot thinks for a second. It says like, come back 1,000 years from now and I'll have the answer. So it calculates. The society is wondering what to do. And the 1,000 year comes and there's this big pageantry of okay, we've got the answer. What is the meaning of life? So they walk up to the stairs. Here's the robot, and they say, all knowing robot, what is the meaning of life? And the robot goes, 41. And everybody just like, what do you mean 41? Well, you should ask the better question. It's 41. And so anyways, it's a long story just to say you do have to ask the right questions. And that's where AI it comes into play. Having a little bit of knowledge beforehand. And to kind of plug my new book, The AI Business Coach, it's a series of prompts of what to ask to get your business better. So if a lot of people are unaware of what to ask. So this is just a list of prompts that you can ask to ask better questions.
Listen, we're two old guys that are trying to work with it, and we've created some algorithms and all, but somebody like you is way smarter and around the curve a little bit faster than we are. So we're still paper and pen guys. So it makes it a little tough for us.
I'm still a paper and pen guy too at heart. I like to doodle, journal. I think my brain works a little bit better that way too.
Yeah,
I would much rather talk to somebody on the phone than text them.
Yes.
Just saying.
It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier.
I did some training with a guy, and his answer, when he didn't understand what somebody said from their question, he'd always say 7. So we'd walk around saying 7 all the time. I'm like, 7. That's because the question doesn't make sense of what the topic is we're talking about right now. So I'm going to give you a crazy answer, and that number is 7. So
I'm thinking he read the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe as well, or to the galaxy.
You know who
it's
I'm
kind of
talking
similar.
about. Yeah, Mark, you would know who I'm talking about. So that's awesome. Mark, I know you had some questions.
Well, you start your book off talking about how when you were 17, and you had a life-changing thought at 17. How did that come about? I mean, not many 17-year-olds have a profound thought like that.
I don't know if it was divine inspiration or whatever it might be, but to give some context to the listeners, I grew up in Indiana, very small town. If you ever saw the movie Hoosiers, I know this is kind of a sports-minded podcast. My hometown wasn't too far away from where Hoosiers took place. So that's kind of the environment I grew up with. We're all in Indiana. We're all born with a basketball. Like that just happens. It is what it is. But growing up, my dad made some bad mistakes. He went to prison when I was 9 years old, 40-year prison sentence. I started getting into drugs and doing stupid stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I remember it was Christmas night. I went away from my family. It was time to go do something illegal on the bad part of town. That's kind of what the day turned into. And so it's night, it's Christmas time. I'm driving down the road looking to smoke a joint, and I see a guy that I worked with, and I was like, hey, why don't you pop in the car, blah, blah, we'll go do this. He's like, no, let's go to my friend's house. We can do it there. So I went to this house. So I'm giving you a little more details that are in the book. And it was in a bad part of town, like the bad part of town. I'm 17 years old. I'm in this room, and there's people 17. Actually, I'm the youngest person. There's 20, 30, 50. There's a lot of people in this room, and we're all, getting high. And I just had this epiphany all of a sudden. I'm looking around at this room, and I'm thinking, if I keep doing what I'm doing right now, I'm going to end up like him and him and him. And that scared me to death. It's just scared me to death. I got goosebumps right now just thinking about that moment.
I do too.
And I put all my stuff down. I'm like, it's yours. I'm done. I walked out of the room. Everyone's like, what is this kid doing? But I was like, I'm done. I'm completely done. And so I walked away from that. And that's really what kicked off my journey in personal development. I wanted to be better. I didn't want to be where my dad was. I didn't want to be like these people right here. And not that I'm better than them, but I knew I could be better myself. And so that's really what started this journey of personal development. And because of that journey of personal development, I got excited about these things, the things I was learning about productivity and scheduling and all this random stuff. and I would share it with other people. And truly, that's how like my coaching career and this personal development career started, was just because I was trying to get better myself. And then I started sharing it with other people, saying, hey, this is what worked. This is what didn't work. Let me shorten that learning curve for you.
Yeah, I love that story. I mean, you are to be commended, my friend. Yes.
I appreciate it. It was a hard thing to live through, but I think that's a lot like life. You know, it sucks going through those moments, but when you look back, you're like, I'm so glad it happened because I learned a lot of lessons from it.
It's what makes you be able to relate to other people, and what makes you such a good coach. So,
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk about what's the hottest thing you have going right now. I know you talked about your um, the real estate that you're in, and also with your podcast through Rich Dad. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, you know, it's all about thought leadership and trying to get better. And if my daughter tries to explain what I do for a living, she can't. It's kind of tough. It's like, well, I know he's on bias. I know this. It's thought leadership. And so for me, every day it's either being the face of a company, of a real estate company, talking about land trusts, educating on land trusts, or it's on the Rich Dad channel interviewing Andy Tanner, talking about the stock market, or it's writing books. Like I said, my newest book is the AI Business Coach for Entrepreneurs. I love AI. I geek out on AI, and I try to help people to use that to better their own business. And then coaching. I do coaching as well, one-on-one coaching. I got away from group coaching. I focus on just one-on-one coaching to entrepreneurs. And I love coaching entrepreneurs because, again, birds of a feather flock together.
That's right.
And there is a great book by John C. Maxwell called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Love,
good one.
such a great book. And the very beginning of the book talks about the law of the lid. And I'm going to use this as an example of why I coach entrepreneurs. The law of the lid basically says this: on a leadership scale of 1 to 10, if you're 10 being great and 1 being poor, you're somewhere on that scale. Now, let's say that you're a 7 or an 8 on that scale. Your team will never outperform you. If you're a 7, they'll be a 6 at best. So if you want a high performing business, you have to be a high performer yourself. And so that's why I focus on the entrepreneur of my own coaching them one-on-one is, how do you get better? It's clarity, energy, courage, productivity, influence. If you can master those 5 habits as an entrepreneur, you're going to perform better. As a result, your business is going to perform better. So that's why the high performance playbook came about. It was to focus on you. And then the second book, the AI Business Coach for Entrepreneurs, is more focusing on your business, using AI to go through your, creating spreadsheets and things of that sort, as that's needed in itself. But first focusing on you, just like, we used to travel a lot, getting on airplanes, and in an event of emergency, the mask goes down, put it on yourself first, and then help your neighbor. That's what it's about, is helping yourself. And so in a long-winded thing, coaching, podcasting, writing books, that's my life today.
Life's good.
Life is good. Life is busy. This is my 4th podcast of the week. So it's good. I never thought that this would get to the point that I'm at, but I'm excited to see where it goes. And like I said earlier this year, I started on a TV show called The Listing in Chicago. So on NBC, I'm a face of that, or one of the characters in there, and it's got picked up nationally. And so we'll see how it goes.
That's awesome. And so what's the premise behind that? Is that business, or what is that about?
It's kind of like one of those flip this house reality type shows.
Gotcha.
And it's there's a lovely lady named Corey Hall that shows these beautiful houses, these big $1 million unique houses. And then in between, I get to teach about real estate.
Nice. I love it. Um, so you read Playbook for Life. What was the biggest takeaway that you got from that you felt like that something resonated with you within the book?
I think the first thing was how alike our mindsets were with it. And the second thing was vision boards, talking about vision boards. And it was a confirmation to me of how important that was. In my book, I write about vision boards and how important clarity is and having a vision of what you're doing. And sometimes for the masses, it can feel a little woo-y, if you will, right? Not everybody like, what's this vision board stuff? But to create a vision is so important. I'm convinced of it. And to see that that's important for you guys too was such a big takeaway. It's like, okay, good. There's more people in this boat that loves vision boards too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
1000%. I firmly believe that. And there's a small group of us, I think, that truly believes that. You go out in the street and not everybody believes it, but I firmly believe that. And it's so important that we have a vision and we believe it, and it can definitely be achieved if we have that belief in the vision. But you got to set the vision. You got to get clarity on that vision. You got to, it's just not like, I want to be successful one day. Well, what is success? And that's why a vision board is like, okay, this is what success looks like. It's this, and this. Maybe it's a car. It's okay. Well, what color is the car? What's the make, model, year? You have to have it detailed in every part of your life, because if you have vague visions, you're gonna have vague results. And so having that vision of being very specific is so key, and then that belief in that vision is paramount.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Duane.
No, I was just going to piggyback on that and say, I am such a believer in, I spent tens and thousands of dollars on having mentors and coaches and all over the years, and people say, why you do that? And I said, well, I can, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Mark says it all the time. They all had a coach, and they're the great, they're the GOAT. And so I think you're not able to evolve. I don't believe that if you're within your own office by yourself, you're ever going to. I think you have aspirations, but you can never get there because you're the smartest person in the room. You can't learn from yourself. I have a bulldog. I tell Mark all the time, Lola knows more than I do because I'm constantly talking, but I can't get any information from her. So, well, I got to go to Mark, So with that being said, it's just finding a good coach that represents the vision that you have, that you believe can get you to that next level. Because there's some, I've had some coaches that it just didn't work for me. I just really didn't get what I thought I'd get out of it. And, it may not be the first time, may not be the second time, but there is somebody out there that is going to understand where you want to go. And I think that just comes from the mentor themselves. How long have they been doing it? What's their lineage? What's their understanding? Are they just focused on a one-way road, or have they been on a freeway to where they've experienced so many different things? And I say it all the time. I don't know everything about everything, but I can tell you a million different ways of how not to do something. And so I just think that over time, that's it. That's just the knowledge I've gained over the years. And I think that with you, Del, I mean, same thing. You've had your hands in so many different avenues to where you've mastered that. You've mastered, now publishing 2 books and being able to be on a NBC talk show. And so all of that evolves to where it's a representation of who you are.
Well, I appreciate it. And I think the key, you talk about having lots of coaches, Michael Jordan having a lot of coaches and Tiger Woods and whatnot. It's true. And through the years, I've hired a lot of coaches. I've had a speaker coach, a health coach, a leadership coach, a dog coach to help train my dog, and I think it's important that you hire coaches. And I'll also say this, if you're hiring a coach, it's important that that your coach has hired coaches too, right?
Yes,
it's important that they're a part of that. But going along with why do you hire coaches? That really should be it, because a lot of people are like, why would you pay someone to hire a coach? Well, if you want to get somewhere quicker and safer, that's where coaches come into play. And I'll give you a good example. In my book, I talk about this analogy of jumping out of an airplane. This is a true story. I was in my early 30s. I got this wild hair. I wanted to jump out of an airplane. I was around my birthday, and I was like, all right.
It's
and
fun, isn't it?
it's fun. It's exhilarating. Like I'm a bucket list type of guy. Like I like when I die, I want to like my eulogy is like this is all the stuff that this guy did. Like that's what they jumped out of airplane. Check. Okay. So like I that was my goal. I wanted to jump out of an airplane. So there's this place a little north of Indianapolis that I found, and there was two options. You could either do it in tandem or you could do it by yourself. Okay. And
Wow.
in tandem, and like I'm a big dude and I'm kind of a masculine guy, and I don't want another dude like strapped to my back. Like I don't want to do that, right? And then there was you could do it solo. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it solo. So we get to the place to the day of the jump, and they're like, all right, these are two options. If you do it solo, it's gonna be like an 8 hour learning lesson. You got to go through all the training and whatnot. But if you do it in tandem, you watch an hour video and you just, the guy hops on your back. The guy's done it 2,000 times. My guy did
Yeah.
it 2,100 times or whatever. And it's just a very short time. And so I'm looking at my clock and I'm like, I don't have 8 hours to do this. So I'll do it tandem. I was reluctant to do it tandem. So we go up and, we go up to 13,000 feet. And Duane, it sounds like you've done it before.
I've
That's
done
high,
it three
right?
times, and so it's so funny that you say this, and it's a great analogy because I'm going to take it because I've done it 3 times, and all 3 times I'm big too, 270 and just thick, and it looked like I had my dog on my back, this little dude, and I'm thinking, thank goodness he's not doing everything, and he's guiding, but he gave me the reins so I can guide it on
Got
down
a
the
little bit.
but
It,
it,
Yeah, I
it
had a
was
little Frenchman on the back of my on me. The guy was from France. I'm in Indiana. This little French guy is strapped to my back. But here to
but
go along with
he
this,
had way more experience than I didn't know if I was going to pass out if I did it on my own. Am I going to do the right thing? Am I really going to make it? This guy, I'm betting on this guy versus me.
1,000%, and that's exactly my experience. As soon as I jumped out of the plane, like all hell breaks loose. Like you've never felt that before. You're plummeting towards Earth, the
And you
sky.
see the
You're
plane
like
go.
this.
There goes the plane.
There goes a plane, your face is like this. And in that moment, I just thought like, I am so glad this guy is strapped to my back, because you're kind of in a panic for that first 20 seconds. And if this was my first time by myself, I don't know if I'd remember which cord to pull or whatnot. And so I think that's a lot like coaching is, you hire a coach for speed and safety. It sped up the learning curve and it kept me safe as I jumped out. And that could be used in so many areas. So whether you're getting a business coach or a speaker coach or whatever it is, you're paying for their expertise. And so I love coaches. I hire coaches anytime I need to get somewhere faster. Who can I hire for this?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's you probably have to put the same analogy to a doctor. If you go to a doctor to get fixed, you have an ailment. Let's say you went to a doctor and you broke your leg. Well, your doctor's not going to give you an antibiotic. He's going to put you in traction. He's going to give you a cast, whatever needs to be done. So finding that proper person that knows what they're talking about. You wouldn't go to an attorney if you broke your leg. You know what I'm saying? So it,
Very
it's
true.
it, it's great analogy. I love it. I don't know about you, but we free falled for a minute every time we did it. And I'm going to tell you, if minute is a long time traveling 300 mile an hour, just, straight down. And I don't know if it's 300. I think it was like 180 some mile an hour or 200 some mile an hour. I don't
I
remember. It
think
was years ago, but I do remember a minute. And a minute is a long time.
that was the same for us. It was 1 minute of free falling. I think it was like 200 or 300 miles per hour. You're
That's
like a
what I
bullet.
thought. I didn't want to say that, and then somebody be like, "Oh crap, you don't know what he's talking about." But no, it was. I thought it was like 250, 300 mile an hour, something like that. But they drop you out at 14,000, 15,000 feet. I did it in Florida all 3 times, and if you've never done it, it's on your bucket list. I agree with Dell. Go do it. It's fun. Um,
I'm just amazed you did it 3 times though. One was enough for me.
It was just, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's kind
My,
of like
my,
getting a tattoo. You get one, you want another one. And so I don't know. I just
My dad did it, but the guy behind him had a gun. He was in the Army. You know, they were dropping. They all had guns, but you know,
Where did he drop into?
Korea.
Korea. Wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
So, Mark, you have anything else?
Man, well, you mentioned the vision boards, and you were so right. I went to a leadership summit in Toronto a few weeks back, and one of the things I got from it was focus. I need to focus more, and vision boards are exactly built to do just that, so that you can see it, you can visualize it, but you can keep your mind focused on it, so that you're always, if you're thinking about it, you'll become it. So
100%. And I think it's good to add some clarity too, some focus to the focus.
Yes.
Of how to properly make a vision board, because I hope people do, but a lot of times they might do it a little wrong, where they might put a word or something there. But the key on a vision board is getting clarity of exactly what you want. So the house, the family, the vacation. Okay, I want to go to Europe. Okay, where in Europe do you want to go to? I want to go to Italy. Okay, what do you want to do in Italy? Well, I want to go to Rome. Okay, what do you want to do in Rome? Well, I want to eat cacio e pepe while I look at the Colosseum. You know, like that's the level of detail that you have to get to. And then the second place where people go wrong is they'll create it. They might do it on their computer, but they don't open up the folder, or they put it away, and they're not constantly looking at it. So there's a few ways to skin a cat. You know, having your traditional vision board, like a poster thrown up on the wall, you got to look at it every day. Like I'm a big fan of a digital picture frame. It's nice and clean. You can put it on your desk or your living room. It cycles through the pictures or the videos that you have. But the key is getting detailed on what exactly that you want, having that focus, like you said, but also looking at it every day. So it activates the reticular activation system in your brain. So your brain says, okay, this is important. I'll start looking for that opportunity for you.
Yep, absolutely. Multiple copies. Bathroom mirror, so you see it in the morning and at night, and at your office desk. Multiple copies are key.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Hey, Del, listen, we appreciate you coming on this episode. We wish you great success. We will have Del's information on the podcast. It'll be, Mark, you'll put it in all his website, his contact information. So if you, the listener, want to reach out to Del, you'll be able to do so. We appreciate you, the listener, tuning in to this episode of Huddle for Success. Join us every Wednesday and Friday as we do a huddle up for a quick mindful thought. With that being said, Del, have a blessed day. Thanks again for being on, and we'll see you next time on Huddle for Success.
Thank you, Del.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Huddle for Success. If you found it helpful and want to support others on their journey, share this podcast, leave us a rating, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you next week on Huddle for Success. Stay huddled up.